Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we gotta have a serious talk. It's time. So, as you can tell by the video, listen, you gotta stop taking the jungler's farm, man. No, but seriously, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the jungle, the meta with the laning, and just what's all going on with the jungle, and why I think some things need to change from from a perspective standpoint, from understanding the game and maybe really thinking about a couple of things strategically. So let's talk about the jungle. Inside the jungle, we currently have, like on our side of the jungle anyways, your team side of the jungle, there are 5 camps, or 5 spawns, including the initial Lilliput. So you have the Lilliput, Ludicolo, Bouffalant, and then 2 core fish. Now, every now and then it's definitely not too crazy to see one of the lanes or a group of lanes, packs of lanes, step into that jungle and take the core fish. But I want to tell you guys today, I want to talk about today the reason why you really don't want to touch jungle from the jungler for a good bit. And I think I've kind of got it labbed out to where it's probably more appropriate. So we're definitely going to cover that. Like, when is it appropriate to start taking jungle farm, and like what jungle should we be looking to take, and what all you should expect from a jungler in your game. So really, I want to talk about jungle to lane, the kind of synergy between them, the strategy between them. So it's a lot more than just saying, hey, don't touch jungle, because that's definitely like comes off a little rude or facetious or something like that. So let's talk about the role of the jungler. So the role of the jungler, as you guys know, or as you friends know, is to, get their experience from the jungle, to provide pressure to a lane, to assist with ganking, which is just attacking from the jungle, or surprise attacking. It's to, assist taking the neutral farm within the lane, so more specifically, the Vespi camp that spawns, and ultimately just to be a pressure on the map that comes from an alternate source, and especially in terms of experience, than the lane. If you had, if you think about it from a strategy standpoint, if you had a lane that had 3 people in it and a lane that had 2 people in it, well, the 3-person lane would be getting less experience per player. You wouldn't be getting buffs on your side of the map. You wouldn't be farming out the most efficiently because you would have all this jungle that's not being taken. So from a strategy standpoint, I think we all understand why there is a jungler and what they can provide. But how do we maximize that? How do we min-max that potential from the jungler? And as a laner, as a person that goes to lane, what is the strategy there? What should you expect, and what should you be doing in regards to your jungler? So the timing of the game is fairly simple. As a laner, you have a lot of objectives directly in front of you. You need to kill all of your minions going down into your lane, and then immediately you want to be contesting your most neutral minion in the lane. So I forget what it is. I think it's an APOM in bot lane and a core fish in top lane, if I remember correctly. But anyways, there's always one neutral minion at the very beginning of the game that you want to be contesting. Now, during that phase of the game, the jungler will originally be going from Lilliput to Ludicolo to Bouffalant to their initial 2 core fish. So in that section of time, you really don't want to take one of those side core fish in the jungle. The main reason being, and this is just the overall sentiment of the entire discussion today, is that you actually want your jungler to get as much experience as possible in the early stages of the game, because if they get the majority of the experience, they can impact a positive change going into the first big objective, which is 3 minutes into the game, which is Dreadnought. So again, let's talk about the timing a little bit. You're going to your lane, you grab all your minions, your wild Pokemon, sorry, I'm still stuck in MOBA terms, I probably always will be, but you grab all your wild Pokemon, you're fighting for that mid-neutral, and the jungler should have been able to kill their 5 initial camps. And at this point, the jungler will pick a lane, and there's all different kinds of reasons why a jungler would pick a lane. I like to pick lanes that are either struggling, depending on what the lane setup is. Like if it's someone that I know needs some help, like it's like a Machamp lane or something, it's like, okay, I should probably try to help them get some experience or something. Or sometimes I'll look at the lanes and I'll say, okay, that's a really good lane to gank. Like if there's a Ninetales Snorlax lane on my team, yeah, that's a pretty good lane to gank. There's some good CC and synergy there. I might gank that lane. So in any case, The jungler will choose a lane to gank, and at 8:50 remaining on the clock, the neutral Vespi camps will spawn. At this stage of the game, what you can expect from a jungler is that y'all are going to clear that camp, but there's not going to be a ton of optimization in terms of who gets the experience here. And the reason why is because it's contested. So, don't be frustrated if the jungler gets a bunch of it. The jungler shouldn't be frustrated if you get a bunch of it. The goal is to secure that neutral camp for the team. That is the expectation. Now, after the Vespi camp spawns at 8:50, 5 seconds later, at 8:45 remaining on the clock, there will be 4 core fish that spawn in the neutral jungle in the center of the map, the literal center of the map. So there's 2 on the top side above the Zapdos spawn, and there's 2 on the bottom side of the center jungle at the Zapdos spawn. The jungler and laners actually need to be looking to secure this farm. This is, more often than not, especially in my solo queue games, this is my role as a jungler. I will be going into that middle jungle and just trying to get at least anywhere between 2 to 4 of those core fish, depending on where the other jungler is, depending on how our fight went, fighting over in lane for the Vespi camp, depending on a few different factors, who I'm jungling, all these different factors. But during that section of the game, really, most players should be looking to either secure those camps or looking to help the jungler secure these camps. And this is an additional experience for your team or for your jungler, which again is a very good thing. And we're going to preface this a little bit more, before I explain exactly why. During this stage of the game, around 8:45, there is a thing that I see happen so very often. During this section of the game, all of the original jungle camps, Ludicolo, Bouffalant, and the 2 original core fish will most likely have respawned at this point. And one big mistake that I see is that laners, especially the off lane from wherever the jungler ganked, or maybe someone that died during the gank, or whichever laner it is, it doesn't matter, there's 4 of them, will have respawned, and instead of going immediately back to lane, will sometimes take a detour into the jungle on our side of the map and will take jungle camps. This is a mistake in my opinion. I don't want to say that it's a permanently a mistake. There may be some games where in the future, or a meta that develops where this could be the most appropriate thing, but from what I can see now and the way that I'm seeing the game played and the way that I'm playing the game, this is a mistake. You do not want to go into the jungle. You want to go immediately back into your lane, and you want to continue focusing on your lane, and I'm going to explain why. So after those mid-core fish spawn, the jungler will try to take as many as they can. The laners can help if they can, just making sure that everybody's doing well. This is a team game. You got to help secure some of the neutral farm where you can. And me as a jungler, I had the option to think about it. I had the option to either go back safely into my jungle and get my jungle camps and then go into the middle for the core fish, or I could try to secure those mid-4 core fish myself earlier. And that's usually the goal. Kind of one big sentiment in this game is that you want to be securing the furthermost experience on the map the sooner you can. And because if you don't, then you're giving it away for free potentially. So 8:45, me being the jungler, I'm looking to secure those core fish. When that's done, I'm stepping back into the jungle. Now, when I step back into my jungle, there should be 4 camps for me, and I will usually do some form of rotation. This is about the time where the map is encroaching, 7:45 to 7:30, 7:20, somewhere in that time range. So somewhere in that time range, I'm looking to secure one more full clear of my jungle, so core fish to Ludicolo to Bouffalant to core fish, or some combination of those. It doesn't really matter. And you're wanting to secure that jungle and heading toward bot lane for Dreadnought. This is the time of the game where everybody on the map should be recognizing that Dreadnought's coming up and making decisions about rotating and when they want to rotate and getting ready and set for the bot lane. Now, the reason why this is all so important, and I'm trying to really emphasize the timing on this, is because the more experience your jungler got between levels 1 to about 7 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, even a little bit after, maybe even a little bit after the actual Dreadnought spawns, so going deeper below 7 minutes, this is all pivotal, because if that jungler had a successful gank, if that jungler was able to steal additional farm from laners, from enemy laners, if that jungler, had 2 successful ganks, this is pushing them closer and closer to potential evolutions, to potential level 9 ultimates, depending on what character they're playing, or just ultimately they're pushing towards more strength. And this, as a laner, is exactly what you want. For example, I'm going to use one Pokemon for example. Cinderace is a character that is very high tier, S tier jungler currently, and they get their evolution and their ultimate at level 9. So if you are allowing the jungler to get all of their farm between all of these early phases of the game leading up to that first Dreadnought, they might actually be very close to 9 or have actually hit level 9 by the time that the first Dreadnought is up, and this can swing a fight. So you know, the majority of this video is just meant to kind of line up the timing and to explain that you really do not want to be taking jungle experience from your jungler until minimum, I think, after the first Dreadnought. After the first Dreadnought, it becomes a little bit more of like a free-for-all in my opinion. Like at this point, like y'all are just kind of rotating through the map. You're kind of taking buffs wherever you want. You know, for me personally, as the jungler, after the first Dreadnought, I don't really mind if I don't get my jungle buffs. They become a little less relevant. I still like having the blue buff because I do clear a lot of jungle, and I'll constantly, you know, like enjoy that buff, so that way I can, you know, kill the wild Pokemon faster. But optimizing, like putting the Ludicolo or the Bouffalant red buff, the attacks, your attacks slow move speed, it's always so weird to say, that can go on pretty much anyone. It's nice to go on to like ranged attackers like Ninetales or Cinderace or Greninja, stuff like that, but it can go on pretty much anyone. It doesn't really matter at that point. So really, I think the sentiment is just to, you know, really don't steal your jungler's farm. If you're behind, like if you're really struggling in the lane and you're behind, just ride it out. Really, truly ride it out. Let them get that farm and see if they can impact a positive change, because that's really what the jungler's role in this game is. With the current state of the jungle meta, where the jungle just gives a ton of experience, and the way that the jungler interacts on the map gives them a ton of experience, even if you're behind, try not to falter, try not to, you know, get too greedy or anything like that. Let them have all that experience leading up to the first Dreadnought fight, and then after that, really start farming wherever you can, but really try to let them have that. So that's kind of the discussion for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. I promise you, it's not just junglers being greedy. We just want as much of that farm. We want as much of those early buffs that we can get, especially the blue buff. Really, don't take the blue buff early on, because that Ludicolo buff helps us clear the jungle much faster, which means that we might have more presence on the map, meaning we might be able to affect positive change for the team. So as always, friends, thank you so much for spending your time with me here on the channel. I definitely do appreciate it. If you're new here, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more future Pokemon Unite content. I definitely would appreciate it. Be sure to be kind to one another, tell someone that you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.